All right, I want to talk frankly about payments specific to HighLevel. I have been in the HighLevel space since 2020, I believe. I think that's right. Always focused on payments. And I've had a tremendous amount of opportunity to speak to, I don't know, 5, 6, 7,000 HighLevel agency owners over that time frame. And there's quite a few patterns that emerge, but there are some very specific ones that I want to talk about in this video. The first, the absolute first thing that I've noticed as a pattern is most people are overthinking how many different ways they should be able to take payments. What do I mean by that? They have, I don't know, 45, 50 different products. Some people have hundreds of products that are all virtually the same thing. They're all reselling HighLevel. Obviously, that's the choice, right? It's a brilliant tool. It does amazing things. But they're overthinking and trying to fit custom payments and custom payment schedules to a wide variety of clients. Well, a client will say to them, I can't really pay you that much at this time. Could I pay you this much at a future date? And then could I break it up over these four things? And the agency, in order to make the sale, does it. And to some degree, I get it. They're simply trying to make a sale and generate revenue for their business. But it does a tremendous amount of damage, if you will, long term. It makes it harder to keep things organized. You're trying to remember everybody and everything and what they're doing. And then when the payment fails for insufficient funds or the card expired or some random thing with the payment, right? Then they've got to sort of reconstruct it. And it takes a crazy amount of time to do that. So my first piece of advice is come up with 3 tiers. Look at what HighLevel has done. They basically have 3 tiers, right? The 97, 297, and 497 plan. Now there are obviously different costs or SMS costs. These things, I'm not talking about the outlier pieces right now. I'm talking about just the monthly cost. When you're out there selling this wonderful product, just put it out there. 97, 297, right? Obviously, you have to follow their terms and conditions. You can't sell it under 97, do all those types of things. But don't overcomplicate it, okay? If somebody can pay you, they'll pay you. Find people that have money to spend and solve a problem for them, and they will spend money with you. They will buy your solution to their problem, okay? Which brings up the other point, and Sean talks about this a ton. Solve a problem. Solve a singular problem. There are 33 some odd million small businesses in the US, okay, as an example. Every one of them's got some kind of challenge. Can your solution, what you've built in HighLevel, solve something for them? And don't overthink the solution either. That's the other thing. I've seen workflows, automations with thousands of steps in them. Now, does it work? Sure, to some extent. But that's like crazy. I'm not saying, like, look, I'm not coming at somebody that built a huge workflow. What I'm saying is for those folks that are selling this HighLevel solution, right? Whether you white label it or you let people know it's HighLevel and your IP is on top of it, sell a solution that's simple, right? So what does Sean always talk about? The basics, right? The SMS, the two-way chat on a website, right? Review and reputation management. Sell the simple stuff, right? Sell business infrastructure stuff. So I'm obviously in the payment section. I do payments. This is where I'm going to say what's the best way to say this so I don't offend somebody? Everybody that you talk to as a business owner that you're trying to sell your solution to has to get paid. End of story. Unless they're trading furs at the local flea market, okay? They have to get paid. You can build 1,000-step automation and have it do the most amazing things. it could text somebody, email somebody, it could follow up, it could have AI in it, it could have AI intent, it could close the sale. It could do all these amazing things. But if you can't get paid, right? And I'm not going to name names, but there are payment providers that cancel accounts, that hold funds, that freeze money. It's 180 days, gets stretched to 360 days, and on it goes. It doesn't matter how good your workflow is. You could have the most amazing funnel. You could have paid a $10,000 to the most amazing funnel designer who is servicing your business very well and bringing you sales. But if you can't get paid, it doesn't matter. You could have the most amazing sales team. The automation fires, the sales team picks up the phone, calls, makes the sale. If you can't get paid, it doesn't matter. You could have the most amazing team. It could all work flawlessly. If you can't get paid, it doesn't matter. Payments is one of the, if not the most foundational thing in any business that you're ever going to talk to. And I don't care if it's a small business or it's a Fortune 500 or a Fortune 100 or Fortune 50 business. Every business has to get paid, period. When you understand that, you've now leveraged yourself in a way to offer a solution. Now, you know HighLevel backwards and forwards most likely. If you don't, learn it. There are plenty of videos that are out there. I'm creating videos myself. There are other great people out there. But what I'm saying is payments is so foundational to what any business is going to do. You should start there. And here's why. Let's say you can take payments and it's super easy to set up and convenient. I'm here to tell you the convenience comes in two varieties. There's real underwriting. People can move fast on the bank side these days. And there's no underwriting. There's sort of, it's not fake, it just doesn't happen. That underwriting, and don't get lost on this piece, you don't need to know the ecosystem of payments, underwriting, interchange tables, risk strata. You don't need to understand that stuff. What you do need to understand is if somebody onboards you with 2 or 3 pieces of information, 5 pieces of information, and immediately lets you start taking payments today, but doesn't give you a real merchant account, you're going to run into trouble long term. Scalability becomes an issue. There's all kinds of things that go with it. When you structure a payment system the right way with a real merchant account, I would even say backup accounts, depending upon the size of your business, we can talk about that at a later date, then what you're really building is a true layer, a foundational layer to the business. Because then on top of that, once you know you can get paid and that system is solid, meaning you can't get canceled, you're not going to have funds frozen, right? Unless you do something stupid, okay? Everybody that I talk to that comes into my world and they're all using HighLevel, right? They don't lose their accounts with me because of the system. I've only ever had one person honestly lose an account, and it's because they flew too close to the sun and burned themselves. And I don't mean to sound glib or push back on it, but the reality is as long as you're running your business and delivering your product, in my world, we're not going to automatically change the terms and conditions on you and kick you out, okay? Which happens. If you have too many refunds, we're not going to change the policy position and go, hey, you suck, see you later, right? We've built the Noomerik payment system into HighLevel to give you that stability. And that's important because once you have that stability, then everything else that you've built, most likely already, has real runway, real room to shoot to the moon because we can grow everything in that payments system with what you're doing. Sales, we can support all of that. Scalability becomes a real reality. Real business building becomes a reality. Okay? And so what happens is you get to this place where the stability is unbelievable. And that reality is what will serve your business. Now, the other piece of that is real payment systems position you strategically. Okay? The market, and there's 2 parts to the market, the traditional market and I'm just going to say it, Stripe. And let me give you a disclaimer. I do not hate Stripe. They are a brilliant technology, clearly. It's a reason they grew so well. and continue to grow and do well. Their technology is really amazing. But there's some fundamental flaws in what they're doing, and that's why I do what I do, specifically for the high level world. Okay, so the traditional world has taught everybody to chase the rate. There's always an interchange rate, there's always a cost there. And so the industry has turned into everybody negotiating a quote lower rate. At one point in time, I counted one bank's application process, and there was like something where in the neighborhood of 237 different ways they could charge you a fee. Okay, that's crazy. And so that world, that traditional world, while it still works, it's still usable, tens of millions of businesses use it, you're conditioned to like literally bid for the lowest possible rate. And then what happens? When you do that, you don't see the hidden fees because you don't know the industry, and that's how it's set up. You don't see the person who's literally just trying to make the sale and get the account roping you into some long-term thing that makes it a nightmare for you to get out of, right? And let's be honest, if they're selling you the bargain basement price that they can resell at, what's their motivation to support you long-term? Okay, maybe they plug you into a phone tree at the bank level or some call center level. I mean, listen, it happens, okay? The quote new way, the Stripes, the PayPals, the Squares of the world, they've conditioned people to think that you can literally just give five pieces of information, connect your bank account, and then start taking payments for whatever it is you want to take payments. Now, I'm not suggesting that anybody watching this is dishonest and they're not legitimately selling a product. What I'm suggesting is the conveniences for them. The faster that they can onboard you with the least amount of information means two things. They can verify whether or not they actually want to keep you long term because they're paying attention to what you're charging, whether you're delivering it, what type of cards coming in. They're assessing all of that on the back end in their technology. Are you profitable to them? Are you too high risk to them? Is there too many chargebacks or refunds, even though you're running a legitimate business? Like all these things are going into their consideration. So they're really they're like the American Idol of payments, where everybody's auditioning and then in the end, they're just looking for the best people. Okay, I get it. I understand the business model. The faster they can get you in the door, the faster they can assess whether or not you're good for their business and vice versa. And if you're not, just move along, right? So it just creates this layer of instability. The second problem with that is cost. They have to start charging more and more money for things, right? So it's easy to get in, but then the cost goes up and the risk to you goes up. It doesn't mean you can't be onboarded quickly. There are banks that now onboard quickly. Technology is getting better and better, but you have to understand that. And so when you understand that part of the payment system, then you're in a better spot to build something in front of us, right? Better invoicing, better subscriptions, better payment links, all this kind of stuff that lives in the high level world that we plug into on the Noomerik side, and then that payment system that Noomerik is gives you the stability and gives you the strategy, which gives you better costs and better long-term growth. So as we're talking about this, those are the pieces you need to understand. Cost, stability, right? Now, what you need to understand also when it comes to payments, and I've talked a little bit about this before, is you don't need to overthink it. And I see so many people overthinking payments. I'll give you a really, really good example. We just onboarded a client. They do $15 million a year. And they invoice people. Okay, fine. What are they invoicing? $500, $1,000, $10,000. It's low ticket and high ticket. But they legitimately say to their client, here's an invoice. Here's a link to pay it. They have a portal. Very similar to a payment link here or an invoice link, right? Those are essentially online vehicles or portals, if you will, to take the payment. So then somebody goes, well, like, what if I want to pay you multiple times? Great. Here's a login to add your payment method, and you can pay us whenever you want. They took what we built into Noomerik, which is built into HighLevel, and they created a simple form that somebody can log into. And now that person who needs to make multiple payments can manage it all themselves. Well, so their client calls them, can I pay you over the phone? Nope, here's the link, here's your invoice. So I'm using that to illustrate that, again, so many people overthink what happens when taking payment. If you have a subscription product, don't have a ton. Give them a simple link to check out on, whether it's a link that's fired through an automation, whether that is a checkout form on a website page, but give them the ability and the knowledge to pay you. And don't make it complicated, right? The confused mind doesn't buy. We all know that if we're from the marketing world. So to wrap this up, right, let's work backwards. So I just said don't overcomplicate it. Understand payment systems, okay? So what we do at Noomerik is we build in stability, we build in strategy, which lowers your costs. And I'm going to add a fifth thing that we haven't talked about yet. You can resell this to your clients. Just the same way you resell automations in HighLevel or AI in HighLevel. We built a system for you inside of HighLevel to offer payments to your clients that lowers their cost, that reduces churn for you, and makes your life simpler, okay? Then working backwards again, don't overthink the payment. Teach your clients to not overthink the payment. So often we get roped into just what's happening. And so don't overthink it. And lastly, work with what you have in front of you. I see so many people that are like, well, I mean, the invoice should really do this. Or the payment link should really do this. At the end of the day, you just need to collect the payment, okay? Your client just needs an easy way to pay you. Your customer just needs an easy way to pay you. When you offer payments to your clients, because you're offering the HighLevel system to them, right? You're selling a sub account, giving them a business system. Tie payments into it. It's a foundational thing for what they're doing in their business. Lower their costs, which now covers what you're charging them, right? I gave the example in a different video. If you're charging somebody $297, and if you use Noomerik to lower their costs $400 to $600 a month because of what they're processing, they've now covered your costs. It's a double win. So just think through what we've talked about. There's a lot we covered. Maybe take the video, download it, use AI to transcribe it. But reach out, ask us at Noomerik. We're happy to help, show you how the entire payments ecosystem in HighLevel works, all the different forms and functions, everything that you can do here, right? All these things Noomerik works for. And obviously it works really, really well in HighLevel. So with that being said, I'll leave you be and I'll see you on the next video.